and sturdy and comfortable. It can really affect overall look and feel of the space. Oh my, I can't get too excited. Oh my god, I'm getting so excited even thinking about it. So, you want to know how to make your home look more expensive? Well, you came to the right place, because that's all I'm going to be talking about today, is how you can make your home look and feel more expensive, because I think people always overlook the feeling of a space, and I think that's what cements it and makes it luxurious instead of it looking luxurious, because at the end of the day it can look pretty, but if it isn't comfortable, doesn't make you feel good, then what's the point? So without further ado, let's just jump into this. So everyone's definition of luxury is obviously very different, because how people feel in the space varies from person to person, and how people want to feel in the space varies from person to person as well. Personally, I think luxury is when a space feels comfortable, everything feels like it's nice quality, nothing feels like it's gonna break. I hate being in a space and feeling like there's brittly things and like, oh, I don't want to move the coffee table in case it shatters, or I just want things to feel nice and sturdy and comfortable. I think that's what luxury is. I'm not going to write a book about it, so let's just continue on with this. Just for those of you who might be new, I have a tendency to run my mouth a lot. I just need to keep focus on my points, because otherwise I'll end up going into 50 different tangents about curtains and rugs and everything else, but that's not what we're here for. You're here to get a quick rundown of points that can help you to make your home look and feel more expensive. In my opinion, there's only two factors that you need to really consider here when you're trying to give that luxury look, and those 2 points are lighting and scale. Because lighting and scale are so important. I think they're like your kind of foundations for your luxury space. If you have the lighting down, check, and the scale down, check, it doesn't really matter what you put into this space, it's going to feel expensive. Let's start with lighting, because lighting is my favorite thing when it comes to design. Like, oh my god, I'm getting so excited even thinking about it. But lighting, okay, so there's a few different types of lighting. You have your accent lighting, your task lighting, and then I like to call it general lighting. I'm sure there's a few different terms for them sections, but that's generally how I map them out. Accent lighting. This is my favorite type of lighting because it doesn't have to be practical, it doesn't need to be there for a function. It's literally there to add ambiance to the space and to highlight specific areas. So a lot of people would highlight artwork. You see it a lot in built-ins, like in the shelving, to highlight the items on the shelf. Sometimes you can accent your curtains, which I think is a really nice little detail if you want to take that one up, like kind of having spotlights but having them aiming at the curtains. It's really nice, adds a really nice effect. Having recessed lighting built in around the room, having plinth lighting, like there's a lot of different accent lighting, and I think it's just so exciting because you can really take a space from a bland space and really give it dimension, because that's what lighting does. It creates these pockets of light and shadows that just really take your eye on a journey around the space. And I think that's why accent lighting is so fun, because it's not practical. You don't have to be practical with it. It's literally just a visual to kind of add that extra spice and that extra bezizzle to the space. That's how you really create that moodiness and that kind of opulence and that, ooh, this is nice. It's very soft and subtle. It anchors the mood into space, I feel. Like you can get moody spaces with so many different lighting elements, but I think accent lighting really cements that, because it kind of adds the kind of little pockets of light and the backdrop to the overall space, and it's my favorite part of lighting. That's where I get excited when I'm designing spaces, when I get to the accent lighting, because I know it doesn't have to have a purpose or be for practical reasons, so you gotta have a lot more fun with it and you gotta get creative with it. Task lighting. So you see task lighting a lot more, I feel like, in kitchens and in work areas. So like in an office you'd have your desk lamp, and in the kitchen you'd have, if you have wall cabinets, you have spotlights underneath the wall cabinets so they light up your work area. That's what task lighting is. It kind of is to light up your work zones. It's a very important feature in this space, and it's not even a feature, it's just a necessity. I feel like when you're designing a space, to have places where you're working or you're doing stuff that require light lit up, because there's nothing more annoying than trying to chop onions and having to move your back so the spotlights can get over your shoulder and you can actually see what you're doing. If you have no wall units, I like to use wall lights aimed down so they light up your space that you're working in. Task lighting is just fun. It's so fun. Everything's fun when it comes to design, to be honest. Now, yes, task lighting, you have to be a bit more strategic with where you place them, because generally they're brighter than your ambient lighting or your accent lighting, because it's lighting up for a function. And that's, you know, part of the about design. You have to have function and it has to be practical. That's what makes the space actually usable, is the more practical side of things. So task lighting maybe for cooking. If you're reading a book in the living room, you might have a floor lamp that aims over the couch so you can read your book. Task lighting is very important. It's very important, so don't overlook it. And then you have your general lighting. Your general lighting, that's like your ceiling lights or your spotlights. General lighting, I see it's a trick one because it can fall into task lighting and it can also fall into accent lighting. Your chandelier, it's general lighting because it is needed to light up the entire space so that you can see everything. But also when you have them on dimmers and stuff, you can retone them down and make them a part of the overall story that you want to tell in that space. I feel like general lighting can be very stark and it's easy for it to be stark, but I think that's where you kind of have to be smart with how you play around with that starkness, whether you put them on dimmable bulbs, if you put them on a warmer bulb, it can really affect the overall look and feel of the space. I prefer to have all lighting on dimmable bulbs because I like to be able to set the tone, and I like for my clients to be able to choose how they want the overall vibe of the space to be. I like in the evenings dimming down the lights and having them set in that kind of warm, relaxed tone. It kind of tricks your mind into thinking, okay, it's wind down time, you start to feel a bit more relaxed and then you sleep better. So lighting is very important. Then we have scale. Scale is a fun one, because scale is probably the thing that you can differentiate a space straight away, whether it was done by someone who knows what they're doing and someone who doesn't, because scale is so important. Oh my, I can't even, how do I even describe scale? Scale. Scale is such a fun tool to use because you can really play with perspective when it comes to scale and people's perception of a space when it comes to scale. Like there's so many cool ways you can arrange artwork and arrange your couches and your chairs and everything. Like it's really fun tool to play with. But I'm gonna start off on something a bit easy. I'm not gonna get too excited. Scale can go, like I could talk about from the rugs all the way to artwork. Scale plays a factor in everything in a space, even your lighting. So scale is like the overall mothership of elements in the space. Okay, let's paint it like that. I don't know where that came from, but we're going to paint it like that. It's in everything in the space. I think that's where people fall off because people are scared of scale. Like I know you might be too scared to put in a bigger coffee table because it might take up too much space, but then if you put one that's too small, it looks lost in the space. That's the general consensus from designing, is people don't know how to use scale properly, and you see little mirrors on walls where it needs something bigger and something a bit more impactful and something heavier to really complement that zone. Generally, if you have like a long narrow section to put a piece of art in, put a tall narrow piece of art. You're kind of almost trying to work with the architecture of a space to really emphasize it and make it feel like it's supposed to be there. And that's generally why you get that consensus of it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be there, or it looks wrong, something's off, something feels off. When something feels off, that means there's something that's not been put correctly in the space, whether it's the curtains that are too skinny, or the rug is too small, or the coffee table is too small, or the mirror is too big. Like there's a lot that can play on. Generally it's too small. I haven't really came across a space where something has been too big for the space. See, I'm not going to confuse you, okay, because when you are designing all the time, you can play with scale in a different way than you would if you're just doing your room the once off, or you're just buying a piece of art for behind your couch. So I'm going to keep it to that level before we graduate to the playing with scale. Okay, my camera cut me off there, but it's fine. I won't hold a grudge. Okay, so basically, when everything is scaled properly, it gives that effect that everything is made specifically for that space. So, which in turn makes everything feel bespoke and custom, which means luxurious, which means expensive. So, it's going to give you that feeling that everything is expensive. It would be a shame to do the injustice to your space by not scaling things properly, because you could make anything look expensive when it's scaled properly and lit properly. So I'm going to give an example on the screen which should tie in both topics. So if you look on the screen here, you see a dining room. Well, let's pretend it's a dining room anyway. We have two openings either side, and we have a dining table in the middle with two chairs. Just pretend there's like a full set of chairs and stuff there, you know, you get the vision, whatever. We have a rug underneath, art prints on the wall, a light up. But can you tell me what's wrong with this picture? I'll give you 10 seconds to get down to the comment section right now and tell me what's wrong with this image. Do it now before I go ahead with the video. I don't want you cheating. So down to the comment section and write what you think is wrong with this space as of now before you fix it. Okay, so what's wrong with this picture? Okay, let's do a few tweaks. Okay, first of all, the art prints are too small. I'm just gonna keep this basic, so any designers that are out there that are watching this, I know we can play around with scales of pictures to warp perspectives and do everything else and create different vibes, but for right now we're gonna keep it simple and say that the art prints are incorrect, because it is incorrect with the proportions of the overall space and everything else in that space. So chill. Also, our lighting is a bit too small because you don't want the table to be off proportion to the light above. You kind of want them to kind of sync to each other, not be like, who the fuck is this? You know, you don't want the light to be looking like it's floating there, like not connected to anything or not scaled to anything or not connected with the overall space. You want it to be part of the group. You don't want to be left out. So get a bigger light. Also, the rug. Let's talk about the rug, because the rug is way too small. You need to stop being so scared to get a bigger rug. And I know bigger rugs cost more and it's more expensive. Yeah. I don't hear it. You're on here to make your house look more expensive. So if you have to spend an extra €50 to get the bigger size of that rug, do it! Because otherwise you're just wasting €200 or €400, whatever that rug cost. Just spend the extra and get the bigger size. At least you're going to get the full effect of it. It's going to be worth the money of that said rug. So let's make that rug bigger. That's all we got to do, and then this space is fixed. So let's click our fingers and make this happen. Okay, so look at the room now. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's scaled properly. Now yes, there's a million ways you could arrange the art on that wall. This is just one quick example just to give you the idea, so you can go up ahead. Oh, also, let's rewind, because I forgot to mention the accent lighting. There was no accent lighting in this space, so I added in a picture light over the mirror on that wall, just because, now you probably can't see it because the ceiling light is in front of it in this angle, but when you're in that space, it would give that vibe of, like, you know, ambiance and whatever. That gives you a better perspective on how to make your space feel more expensive, because you can have the most expensive furniture in the world, but if it's not scaled and lit properly, girl, it's a waste of time and a waste of your money. So take full advantage of what you have and really emphasize everything and scale it properly and add the proper lighting and give your space that treatment that it deserves and that look that you want to achieve. It's not that hard once you really start looking and keeping an eye out for these points. Now listen, if you need any extra help, I'm on Instagram, so you can send a picture of your space over to me on there and a few lighting options that you've seen. Just don't come over there expecting me to be easy on you, because when it comes to design, I don't really hold back with my opinions, and you might have noticed that from my reaction videos, but I don't hold back my opinions because I'm so passionate about this, and design is something I just love so much, and I hope that, you know, you love it as well, because I feel like people have such an emphasis on rules when it comes to design. These are just guidelines, okay? There's no rules when it comes to design or creating or creativity. So I think if you can justify it and you can explain it and it works for you, then who am I to tell you different? And who is John down the road tell you different? And who is Maggie down the road tell you different? If it works for you, it's correct. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching this. I really hope you enjoyed. Please let me know if you'd like any more of these type of videos, because I actually do quite enjoy filming them. I was a bit nervous to film them just because I feel like I show it better than I explain it. So, because it's all in here. Anyway, bye.